Alright, my YouTube family, welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and as we finish out the week, my fellow agents, I wanted to put together a video really quick, just going over some of the highlights of the information that we learned this week in regard to Seasons 2.0, the winter event, a bunch of different stuff as well. And as always, my friends, we're going to jump right into the details. If you happen to enjoy this, do me a favor and hit that like button. It truly helps the channel out. And if you want to stay up to speed on all things Division, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button as well. Now, the first thing I'd like to talk about, and this is something I don't think a lot of people caught during the live stream, but Yannick actually talked about increasing players' inventory space. This is something people have wanted for a very long time. I'm going to cut to that really quick, and I'll be right back.
Any plan to increase stash size? I'm going into Q&A mode. We've talked about it. We are looking at it. We have some ideas.
Now, for those of you that may not know, the game has made it clear for years now that they had no intent whatsoever on giving us any more stash space. So a lot of players out there, including myself, what do? We create different mules to carry all our extra shit around. And I mean, that's really all we're left with. However, to hear that they're actively working on this change is a very good thing. And the reason I say that is because remember, between now and the DLC, at least as of my recording this video, we do not have any other content coming into the game. Yes, we have a winter event. I'll talk about that in a moment. We may have another few things here and there, but the bottom line is the most important thing for this game to focus on is the DLC and the quality of life of what is going to actually get us to that DLC. Let me know your thoughts, my fellow agents. Now, talking about stash space, it brings us to the next topic of this video, and that is the Lexington assault rifle. And unfortunately, for many players out there, when you logged out of the game, you had a full inventory, and when you logged back in, you didn't get the weapon because it did not go to the stash. If it did not make it into your inventory, that means you didn't get it. Now, thankfully, the game is well aware of this situation. They are working on a fix for it, and if you happen to be a new and returning player, you completely and totally have my sympathies. But for those of you out there who haven't stopped playing this game, you got to take some accountability. You have to know in this game, every single time you log out, you always want to make sure you have at least a few spots open in your inventory. And I say that again for people who have been playing since day one like myself, because this is not our first rodeo when it comes to this. You know, I mean, I encountered this years ago when it took place. I made sure moving forward I did not make that mistake again. And obviously when the game passes along any new information in regard to how you may get that weapon if you missed it the first time, I will bring it to you right away. And as always, if you have any questions I did not address in regard to the Lexington, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Now at this point, my fellow agents, we are going to talk about the winter event. I'm going to leave you with the trailer really quick, a few things that the game said. After that, I will come right back and give you my thoughts.
The event itself is going to start on December 10th, so there's just a little bit of time left. It's not going to be a very long one. Those of you who played the last year's winter event know that it usually consists of a project with a few objectives, and here you can see a calendar. What's important to know about this specific one is that going to feature two tracks, easy track and a hard track, and both tracks will feature different set of rewards. So the outfit, it's called Rudy outfit because Rudolph, I think it's quite obvious. It's going to be part obtainable through the easy track. The knee pads that you saw in the end of the video with the snow VFX available through both tracks, easy and hard. And hard track also going to feature extra XP, named caches, optimization caches, recalibration caches, and some exotic components. And the main idea behind this specific winter event is all that the missions designed around time trials, and you will be given a time objective to complete each specific mission. And if you manage to complete it before the time runs out, you're going to be granted the reward automatically.
I wanted to mention, to talk about the time trials quickly, because that's something we said we wanted to bring back. So as you know, with Seasons 2.0, we did not bring back the leagues because it didn't really fit with this format. But we said we liked the idea of time trials, so that's something we've done with the winter event. Now we are going to start seeing projects that are the objectives are actually time trials. So it's going to be complete that mission under that that time. So it's cool. It's going to be a new type of project and a new type of objective. So I'm glad we got it to work.
The new knee pads, the snow machine knee pads, are going to be available through the track. Both tracks actually going to feature it, and once you obtain it through the track, you can the hoarder, the loot goblin, gonna drop it as well. But yeah, that's pretty much how it is for almost every event, and you can also expect other seasonal exclusive items to drop with the hoarder. And as usual, he and other NPCs going to be wearing nice Santa hats. And the items from previous events are going to be from winter, summer, and even the mooncake. So if you missed those, it's your chance to get those.
So as you just heard, my fellow agents, the holiday event begins on December 10th, and we have 6 days of activities. Now, each day is going to be a mission that you need to complete in a certain time frame, and once you've done that, you will then receive the corresponding item for that day, and I think it's a good thing. And the reason I say that is because last year, while we did have more days of activities, on certain days the activity was very, very simple. I mean, I remember one day all you had to do was roll up to a group of agents sitting at the base of ops. I think it was 3 or more agents, shoot them in a moat, that would get you the reward. So I happened to really like this change because it gives me something to do in the game that is going to be different from what I normally do. Now, the other really important detail is the fact that they are making these time trials, and the reason that is significant is because there happens to be a very large portion of the community out there who really miss these leagues and the time trials that were there, because I know for a lot of players out there, I mean, you may not be one of them, but for a lot of people, you really miss having those time trials during those leagues, and now the leagues are gone, so this is a great opportunity to jump back into that. Finally, today, my fellow agents, I want to talk about Seasons 2.0, and if you were to go back to one of the first videos, I don't know which one it was, but if you were to go back to a video that I posted when the season, first began, my thought was very simple. I was really enjoying it, and that still holds true to this day. However, one of the main reasons for that is because I'm really taking my time with my mission journeys. I'm on mission journey 5 right now. I only get to play, half hour here, an hour there, whatever it is. So for me, there still happens to be a lot of things I need to accomplish and that I'm looking forward to doing. Now, one of the other problems we have with Seasons 2.0, and again, this is something most players know at this point, is that when it began, there was a crazy seasonal XP bug in the game. And because of that, people ripped through their seasonal reward track in a matter of minutes, and, that really kills the incentive to once again log in on a daily basis. And remember, that was one of the major pillars of Seasons 2.0, is to give people that desire to play on a more regular basis, and when that XP bug took place, it took that desire away as well. Now, with all that being said, I do want to finish off by showing you one more clip from the live stream. This is where Yannick went over different changes they are going to be bringing to Seasons 2.0 and also things that they're going to change in the future. Please let me know your thoughts, my fellow agents. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel. Please let me know of any questions you have I did not address in this video. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time, and as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
And to start, get your list with the changes
You
for
want to start with Season 2?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
start with the
Okay.
Seasons 2.0.
All right, I'm going to take my notes. Sorry, old school paper. So Seasons 2.0, well, we've been looking at the feedback. We've got a lot of feedback with PTS, and now that Seasons 2.0 is out, it's good that it's out because now we get to actually work with concrete feedback and data. So we know what we can see what works, what doesn't, what you enjoy, what you enjoy less. So it makes our job much easier now to actually figure out how do we make it better. So with that, there's a bunch of things we're looking at, and I want to mention some of them here on some of the things we want to change. And just bear in mind that none of that is timed somewhere. So don't expect those changes to come in the near future. I don't know yet. I cannot promise that all of them will be here by the next update, but at least so you know what are the kind of things we're looking at to improve Seasons 2.0. I think first, I'm going to start with some of the changes we're going to bring this season in the upcoming patches. And some of them are just reactions to feedback that we've gotten from you. And the first one is that we are going to give control to the group leader on the activation of the modifier. So as you know now, it's a bit of a mess. I think we've talked about it already in the past. The fact that you don't really know when you matchmake where you're going to end up and how we handle the rules of matchmaking and all of that. So now we're going to have it clearer. So if you show up or if you matchmake with a group, whatever status the group leader has in terms of modifiers being activated or not will apply to the entire group. So it is the group leader that will decide. It's going to work the same as global events, basically. So hopefully now everybody will be on the same, under the same status, and we're not going to have the issue where someone has their modifier on and you have it off, and then you don't have your modifier, but the hostile modifiers are still applying. This is not going to happen anymore. It's going to be the same experience for everyone. We're removing we've removed the modifiers from raid as well. So that was one of the inconsistencies we had with between what we've said and what was actually in the build. They were not on the PTS, but they were on the build. We've removed them now. So no modifiers in raid. We're keeping the raid experience pure. One thing also we've done is adding the Battle Pass XP to all priority objectives. So you no longer have to choose when you're doing priority objective. You no longer have to choose between progressing your season rewards, your Battle Pass rewards, or other rewards. Now it's every priority objective will give you Battle Pass XP and then the other reward that you will choose. So to try to be more generous with that progression. We are also going to make some adjustments to the hostile modifiers for this season. So obviously the two culprits here, which are Requital and Master of None, which are the ones that have, of course, I think frustrated the most part of all of you and all of us, to be honest, myself included. So we're going to make changes to them to make them less punishing, and so change the way Requital works. So it's going to be a bit more intuitive and a bit easier to understand. When the damage actually gets reflected and how to counter that, with better feedback also in terms of the icon and the UI. And Master of None, we're also going to change to especially get rid of the shock effect and change that to something else. So you're no longer going to have the issue of NPCs with Master of None that are just taking you out of cover all the time. So these are changes that are going to be coming very soon in a future patch to at least reduce some of the frustration we've seen with the existing proposition of modifiers. But then on top of that, we also have much more changes we're looking at, but are probably going to come a bit later next season, and some of them maybe even after that. So just to talk a bit about some of the things we would like to change. Well, first let's talk about modifiers. So as we've seen, and as I see in the chat already on some of the comments with modifiers, this is the first version we have in this season. We've talked about it. This is the first iteration. We're going to every season will come with new modifiers. So every season we will learn from the previous one, and until we hit the perfect formula for modifiers. But overall, we know that some people prefer to play without them. I do think that for the most part it is because of the hostile modifiers part, because it's as we've said with Requital and Master of None, it's not always fun. But our goal ultimately is to make sure that you want to have the modifier on, because gameplay is just going to be more fun. And there's a few things we're going to do with that. First, we have, I'm not going to go in details here, but we've taken that into account in designing the next modifier for the next season. So I think that one is going to be pretty cool. We are streamlining and simplifying the hostile modifiers for the next season as well. So it's going to be something that's a bit more simple and less punishing. Really a bit more about modifier gives you a bonus, hostile modifier counters that bonus, but does not actually So it's really just about negating potentially some of the effect of your modifier, but nothing beyond that. Because ultimately we want the modifiers to just be fun and be a boost for players. So it's like you play with the modifier, you get the boost. The hostile can potentially counter some of that, but it's never going to make you weaker than what you would be without the modifier. We are looking at, and that's been one of the requests as well, we are looking at adding a bonus when you play with the modifier active. So I know that we've said we were a bit on the fence with doing that because we don't want you to force yourself to play with the modifier just to get the bonus. But I think there's a right balance we can find in trying to find a bonus that is just an addition, just a small plus. So you feel rewarded for playing with the modifier, but without missing out if you really choose to play without the modifier. But once again, our goal is to make you want to play with the modifier because it's just going to be more fun. We are looking at the pacing, and I will get back to that, but you're going to unlock the modifiers faster also. So in the progression, in future seasons, we want the modifiers unlocked to come faster, the active and the passive ones. So it takes a bit less time to get all the toys and just have fun with them. This is a long list, so bear with me here. We are looking at the trigger conditions for the active modifier. So we know that now it's a bit of an issue that you have to aim down sight before you can trigger the active modifier. So we are looking at changing that to make it a bit easier to trigger. Overall, we want to make improvements to the HUD and the visual feedback on the modifiers as well, making sure that it's clearer, especially when you have an active modifier that is triggered and that is active in terms of the timer and how long will it stay active, and when you actually increase the duration by your actions, have much better feedback there, so you have better control over what's happening. But also, looking at making the active modifiers last a bit longer, probably, so you really have a more interesting benefit from triggering them. Then on the season journey, so one shift we want to do is to really try to give it a bit more purpose, because right now the season journey is a bit of a mix of a lot of things. It's your main progression path towards unlocking modifiers, towards gaining battle pass progression. It's also meant as a kind of a progression thing for new characters, level 1 characters, so it's meant to teach the game. We're going to try to clarify that. We're going to separate the progression part for new players from the experience of a level 40 player, so you're no longer going to have just buy an item at the vendor and these things that are supposed to introduce features. This will be segregated outside of that. So you will have objectives that are more interesting and more gameplay related towards what is the reality of your gameplay as a level 40 player. We want to focus a bit more on the modifier, actually, the season journey. So try to make the objectives more about, you unlock the modifier, you have objectives about using this modifier, then you get to the next mission, you unlock a new active modifier, then the objectives will be about using that new one that you've unlocked, and then you unlock the next one, and then you use it. So a bit more as an initiation to the modifier. And also all the modifiers will be unlocked through the season journey, so active and passive. So we're taking the passive out of the priority objectives, and everything is going to be on the season journey. So really, the season journey will become your main way of progressing the modifier and unlocking all of it. Then what else do I have here? We are looking at the balancing of all of the objectives on the season journey. So there's some of them are too grindy, the numbers are just too high and it takes ages to do them. Overall, that's not our intention, to make you grind for dozens of hours just to fill a bar until you unlock one part of the whole thing. So we want to make them less grindy, and maybe looking at not necessarily gating behind missions, the progression of objectives, but that's still in discussion, so we'll see if we want to do that. As I said, the season journey right now is also your main means of progression of the Battle Pass XP, but we want to change that. So if what did I want to say? My PC just okay, sorry, my PC just died, but it's back. When it comes to Battle Pass progression, so as we said, we've given more Battle Pass progression or Battle Pass XP on the priority objectives. But we are actually also looking at adding more granularity there. So we're going to be adding Battle Pass progression, Battle Pass XP on more sources, basically pretty much going to look at all the activities in the game and go back more to the way it was in the older season format, where you can play what you want and you will get progression. So you will less be, required to do the activities or the priority objectives or the season journey do give you. You can still do that. You will get progression through those. But you also can play whatever you want and you will get some progression as well. So really, if you're not interested in any of the objectives that are given to you, you can also just do whatever you want in the game and get progression there. I'm almost there, I promise. We are looking at being a bit more generous with the rerolls on priority objectives. We are going to have a pass on all the activities that are available in priority objectives to remove the ones that are too rare, especially in the open world. So, the Warhound convoys, elite resource convoys, and those that spawn on a rarer occasion. So when you have a priority objective that is about that and none of them are on the map, it's not fun. So we might just remove them. We're going to modify the descent one because right now we have an issue with, since it's just asking you to do a couple loops, people just matchmake, do the couple loops, and then leave the group and leave you alone. So we're going to look at changing that one to avoid that kind of behavior. What else do I have? No, that's actually the end of my list.
Thank you.